Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Tasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and we appreciate that. Today, we're breaking down the Imola GP post-quali show. But before that, if you are new and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe. If you want to watch ad-free content, you can head over to our Patreon. 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify would be lovely. We really appreciate that. And I really appreciate my guest today, Cameron, for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like the quintessential Formula One content creator. Like, you're just like that guy. So thank you for being here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, Tasha.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Enjoying what I thought was going to be a bit of a different Imola race weekend, only for Max Verstappen yet again to pull out the rug from underneath my copium. But I digress, Tasha. I'm all right. I'm surviving. How are you?
A little bit of the same. It's been an interesting weekend. Like you said, just kind of feeling like, we might see something different, especially after, last race. We did get an unexpected race win. Things kind of mixed up last weekend or last race. So I was maybe thinking maybe we'd see something exciting and fresh for Imola, but
not to be.
I digress. Yeah.
Not to be.
I guess in general, like, what are your thoughts on Imola? Is this a race that you're actually looking forward to, or what do you think?
Couple of things, Tasha. I'm happy to put on my Eurocentric cap. I'm happy that we're back on European time. As selfish as that sounds for the rest of the F1 fan base who aren't in Europe, I'm happy.
You get your sleep schedule back in sync.
Listen to me, Tasha. Those 6 a.m. business, it's not for me. I heard Nasha say it on the previous pod that he can't be bothered with it. And I listen, if I'm being honest, I'm a selfish sleeper, so I'm glad that we're back on European time. And I'm glad also that we're back on proper tracks. None of this street circuit malarkey. Punish them for track infringements and going off. I want to see gravel and grass sack off the runoff areas.
We saw that for sure, a few times, I agree. I'm excited to be back in Europe as well. I mean, it's not too bad for me, the sleep schedule, although FP3 was definitely 6:30 in the morning. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. And I said I wasn't going to wake up for it, but, that bug, that F1 bug,
Now, Tasha, if there was an FP3 season today that you were going to wake up for, it was this one, right?
Yeah.
Needed to see. Is it true? Have we got challenges and stakes and uncertainty? Do we have a reason to watch now? That we hadn't done before. So I don't hate you. I respect and admire you for waking up at 6:30. Not me though, Tasha, I'll be honest with you. Not anymore. Too old and grey for them shenanigans.
I feel like I'm getting there. I feel like I can't do another season of this. And I can't imagine what the actual drivers are experiencing who have to deal with deal with this. I at least get to be in my bed.
This is true. It's a good show.
So like you said, this weekend, I think we kind of got into this territory where Red Bull looked a little bit like on the back foot. A lot of teams brought upgrades. McLaren brought Oscar Piastri's upgrades. Finally has the full package.
Is that what we're doing today, Tasha?
Yeah.
Holding McLaren's feet to the flames.
They finally gave him the other, half of his package. And I feel like he did, he actually did well with it. Like even the previous race, I think was able to do really well in the race. But, throughout the weekend, Oscar's been up there in the timesheets and he's been looking really comfortable. I don't even think he's been here besides, I think, testing is what they were mentioning with McLaren like previously. So he hasn't done a GP here or anything besides a couple test days. So he looks really comfortable. The car looks really fast. Thoughts on Piastri for you?
He's rapid, Tasha, but out and out pacing quali's never been his weakness, right?
Right.
I think he's always showed pace equivalent, if not quicker than his teammate Lando Norris. The issue for Oscar in his sophomore season has been translating, similar to the Ferrari package, right? He's translating that qualifying pace to the race. How can he manage tyres? Is he going to be able to keep up with bloody Lando behind him and Max in front of it? Do you know what I mean? That's always been the question for Oscar. Brilliant driver, but I think we need to take a chill pill. Some of my friends and F1 family have talked about Oscar being materially better as a racing driver than Lando Norris, and I think people will need to take a rain check on that. Not just because of last race, but I think put some respect on Lando Norris's name. Just a tad chill pill on that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's exciting to watch. He's it's been nice to see him come in and feel just comfortable, like, throughout the last like season and a half. Like he just feels so like, used to these races, these tracks, even though he's really never driven at most of them. He does seem to be keeping up with Lando like in quali. And then he's had like little glimpses in the races. In the sprint race, he did really well. But to your point, there's like the tire management issue that's really big for him. And then, his overall race management, like he's just very eager beaver, which I feel like is not a bad problem to have, because at least he kind of has that mentality of like, I want to win. I can do this. But yeah, I guess it's just that finesse that I think comes with like time and, experience. So
there's the operative word. You've said it there, Tasha, finesse. And that's why he lacks at this point. And you know what? Let me put the F1 community's feet to the flames. We've got a tendency to do this, Tasha, haven't we?
Yes.
The new one that comes along is always the biggest, baddest, and greatest. Why can't we relax? It doesn't always need to be black and white, the very best or the very worst. Allow the likes of Oscar and Andrea Kimi Antonelli to come on at their own pace now. Why does everything need to be, he's the next Ayrton Senna de Silva or the next Lewis Hamilton? It's just nonsense, man. Why does the community do that? Non-rhetorical question.
The hyperbole, I know that kills me. I mean, I can be a little excited about people. I definitely, I'm guilty of that. But then there's like, it's like you're having that conversation, like almost like not in jest, but you know what I mean? Like there's like lightheartedness to it. Like, I can't wait to see what Oscar can do, or I can't wait to see what XYZ can do. But like to actually believe, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like my expectations of Oscar are like, I think where they should be. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm not like putting pressure like he needs to have, 8 race wins by now or something like that. So yeah, it's nice to see him grow. And I think
100.
like in terms of like the last like couple of seasons where we've seen like rookies come in and like kind of flunk out, it's nice to see that he at least has that ability to like stay focused. He has extreme concentration. He has great drive. So I think he has like all the like makings of it, which is just like, just sit back and watch what happens. Like that's how I feel when don't rush it. No need to rush it.
Let it brew.
Yeah.
Let it simmer.
Let it marinate.
let the beat breathe a little bit,
Exactly.
Surely.
So what about his teammate Lando this weekend? Obviously, he's on the timesheet. He's behind Oscar. Oscar definitely had seem like a little bit more of a jump on him this weekend. But what do you feel like with Lando? Like obviously, I think in the race he's going to fare much better. But what do you kind of read on the quali situation?
I think he'll come good in the race. Now, I know the Emilia-Romagna track isn't the track around which you want to be doing loads of overtaking. That's why pole position is really important. Not as important as a Monaco, say, but nearly. So I was a little bit disappointed. Tasha, I'll be honest with you, I thought Lando was going to drop it on pole. I bought into the Lando Norris hype. First time win, last time out. He sounded a lot more positive. He does the down talking, and he's always been a glass half empty type as versus a glass half full. But I heard him in the driver's presser, and the tone was more upbeat, more positive. It was like, I've got my first win now, and I'm looking to kick on and institute this going forward, right? Be more consistent, get my next one quicker than I did my first. So it's like, this is a new Lando that I'm hearing here. And I was buoyed by it, in fact, and I drank the Lando Norris copium only for Max Verstappen to slap me in my face and tell me that I was being overly optimistic. But no, I respect Lando, and I think it's high time that we put some respect on Lando Norris's name as a racing driver. He wasn't bad last Grand Prix, Tasha. Quickest man on track in that final stint, So I don't know. Respect is due.
Absolutely. I feel like, Lando is such an intriguing person to me because like, I think my critique of him has always been like his mentality is very shaky. And I think that's the differentiator between him and like the other drivers like in that kind of generation that he's in, where you don't really hear him speak positively about himself. Like, we always get on George because he loves to compare himself to, Lewis. But I'm like, at least he aims high. You know what I mean? Like, at least he has that kind of like delusion of grandeur. And like, you kind of need that, I think, sometimes within reason. And then you hear Lando and he's very self-deprecating. And I know a lot of it is his sense of humor is dry, sarcastic. I get it. But it's like, the the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? Like if you are constantly downplaying yourself or like speaking down to yourself, you know, you don't really yield results like that. And I believe the race that he won that weekend, he came in and was like, I believe I can win.
100%.
So I'm like, that's the difference. Like, that's what I need from Lando. Like, I don't doubt that he's very talented and he's fast. And like, you see it every weekend. There's glimpses. And it's just like, why can't you just believe in yourself? So anyway, that's where I'm at with Lando. I just need him to like believe in himself. And I would love to see him kind of like come into this era, like having that race win, which I feel like is a big, huge, like monkey off his back. Like, just do what you need to do now. Like, you know what I mean? That pressure is off. So follow up.
I couldn't agree more. Tasha, self-affirmation is the play for Lando because all the ingredients are there as far as a racing driver: speed, racecraft, tire management, race IQ. He's got it all, but he just needs to, like you said, self-affirmation and positivity, because if it's the other way around and negativity, rest assured that will drip feed to your sporting endeavor. Absolutely, 100%. Mentally, this thing is as much physical as mental, surely. And if Lando doesn't conquer that, then he'll be doomed to repeat the mistakes of Christmas past, sadly. Hopefully not, though.
Yeah. You know? I know he doesn't want to go back to that place. It feels kind of dark.
Just hard.
So the other teams that bought upgrades were Ferrari. It did look like for a hot second, Leclerc was challenging for pole. And then alas, Carlos Sainz even wasn't able really to improve that much either. It was just kind of like, I was excited because throughout practice, and obviously they, like I said, brought a huge upgrade. I think they call it like a B spec, you know? So they're dealing with like a lot of new equipment on the car. And essentially, you know, I was expecting to think a lot more when it came to quali and specifically like pole. I was definitely thinking Leclerc was going to take it, but.
Yeah, Tasha, I was very optimistic as far as modern day Jean Alesi's chances. I thought Charles was going to smash it. I really did.
I did.
Not least because he, up until Q2, he was on mediums, right? So that was confidence manifest. They were going to cruise it and they were going to go into the race with an extra set of soft, lest there be a safety car like there was in Miami, so that they could leverage that extra set of red label soft compound tyres. I thought he was going to nail it. I really thought he was going to, and he was only like a tenth or two shy of Max Verstappen's time in Q2, and he was on softs all the while. I was like, oh, they're going to smash it. These upgrades have worked. But again, Max Verstappen is inevitable, does what he does all the time, and rips my bloody, my optimistic rug from underneath me. Tasha, what's the bloody point at this stage? You know what I mean?
Getting our hopes up for nothing.
Mate. Always.
With actually Max Verstappen, speaking about him, because I feel like we never really do. Because, you know, like you said, he's inevitable, things happen, and we just like move on. But he did not look that great this weekend in terms of like confidence in the car. It looks like the setup for Red Bull, they were struggling a lot to get the car in like some sort of window. They also brought upgrades, I believe like a floor and some other like parts. So yeah, the first few practice sessions, Max was like all over the place in the gravel, not looking super comfortable. And then there's Perez, who, he's there. So for quali, Perez shocked me. I'm not going to lie, because I thought he got the memo from the team to do better in quali. This is a Q2 exit for what? Like no reason for that. And Max got pole. I did see that he was given a tow by Nico, but still, it is what it is. But thoughts on like Red Bull performance this weekend? Like anything stand out?
It's a weird one, Tasha, that the balls that are red can do this sometimes. I don't think that car, as fast as it is, I think that car is still sensitive as far as its setup. You need to get it. You need to do a lot to get it in its optimal performance window, right? It's not an easy car necessarily to set up, even if it is super quick once you get it there. And this was one of those weekends like Singapore last year, like Spa a couple of years ago, where they had to tinker with the ride heights, ease off through Eau Rouge or into the compression. And this looked like one of the ones, right? But it was the extent of it, Tasha, that surprised me, right? Because all throughout free practice, they were nowhere.
Yeah.
They couldn't extract a smidgen of performance out of that RB20.
Right.
Hence why I was so optimistic. This was the qualifying session that I wanted to see. This is how I wanted 2024 to be for F1. Because I didn't know. I didn't know whether Max was going to drop it on pole, and then you got to suspend your disbelief even further because Checo Perez is out. It's like they've really got an issue. And if Max is going to put it on pole, it needs to be Max Verstappen that does it. And again, Tasha, levels, that chap is telling you. I don't want to come on a quick stop and Max do a couple of Max Verstappen, but at some point,
everybody
Tasha, we're going to have to.
Yeah,
we're going to have to. You tee me up when you're ready and I'll go in.
Right. But even that being said, like with Max, like still getting pole, it didn't look super, like I said, comfortable. He did get the toe from Nico. You did have Leclerc. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I just feel like, do you think maybe for the race that Ferrari can play a little bit more of a factor and McLaren can play a bit more of a factor in terms of like challenging Max? Because I mean, he didn't win the last race by that much of a margin. And I do feel like he made some errors just because he wasn't able to just be, 15, 20 seconds down the road. So what are you thinking for this race in terms of what Max might be able to do?
I think, you know what, as far as Max, Tasha, as at May 24, the rules that I abide by never back against Max Verstappen, regardless of how adverse the circumstances seem. I think he's driving at a level now. So forget about his racecraft and his speed in absolute terms. Like the question for Max Verstappen naysayers was all about adversity. How does he do when put under pressure, right? Today, how could you be put under more pressure? That was the pressure. True, he has the car underneath him, but it wasn't set up. He was doing the understeery thing to snap oversteer. He was struggling all throughout free practice. And we know that qualifying is a momentum game. In an ideal world, you want to nail free practice 1, 2, and 3, and then carry forth that momentum into your qualifying session. Didn't have it, Tasha, yet and still. With all the upgrades that Ferrari have brought, all the upgrades and speed that McLaren have brought, and momentum, I'll have you know, Max Verstappen in Q3 goes and he clutches up, Tasha. At this stage, I don't know. I desperately want to critique the chap, but I have no ammo. Where is it, Tasha?
He's consistent. What is he like? People have described him as like a metronome, just very like
that's the
clinical machine.
Inevitable,
like, ominous. But see, he has the mentality like, you got to give it to him there because it's like in order to be that consistent, and he has glimpses because there was times this weekend where he was losing his mind. But when he focuses, it is very interesting to see because it's that difference that, other drivers don't really have, like that ability to like just clock in and like dial in. And so, to be able to do that week in and week out, because I feel like I would have lapses in my mentality. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like everyone does.
Like, oh, look at that cloud up there. Like,
You're human, right?
Yeah.
But he has none. Or very rarely, to be precise.
Yeah, there's
and again, I prayed that Lando or Oscar or Leclerc, the Sharks were circling, right? But yet again, he just makes boys out of those other drivers, man. Yet again, and I'm just like, flipping Nora. Where's our competitive season gone, Tasha? Nowhere to be seen.
How do we get a competitive season with Perez in that second seat? Like, I understand why maybe they're not willing to put somebody else in that seat, but what do we need to see from Perez to have some sort of interesting season? Because this is not good. We're relying on like other teams to give us some excitement, and they're still trying to get their footing with their upgrades and stuff. So it's like, what's going on with Perez?
Tasha, I was once told that you can't expect something from someone that they're not capable of doing fundamentally.
Amen.
You cannot. It's fool's gold too.
Yeah.
And Checo Perez, sadly, he's a good driver. Let me not put some respect on Checo Perez's name, because at Racing Point, a load of brilliant drives. You saw what he did in 2021. Like he's very good. Mexican Minister of Defense settings. However, there is levels to this game, Tasha. There are levels, and the level between Max Verstappen and Checo Perez, it's one of these, right? Like you said, it's material. So you need to get someone else in there. Put Carlos Sainz Jr. in there, or I don't know, Alex Albon's gone now, or somebody else. It can't be. And even then, if we're being honest, Tasha.
Right.
Let's have a grown-up conversation. Is Carlos Sainz Jr. really going to challenge Max Verstappen in his final form?
No.
When he's had his Weetabix
Maybe
in the morning?
over the radio. Maybe they can compete. Like, who's going to complain the most over the radio? But
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The biggest chance at F1 competition will be 2025 and Lewis Hamilton in hopefully an Adrian Newey designed Scuderia Ferrari car, right?
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
And even then, is that even a thing anymore, Tasha? Or is he going to McLaren? I don't even know. What's going on?
I don't even know if he knows where he's going, to be quite honest. What do they say? Audi signed with Nico, and they're looking at Carlos, but they're like, the clock's ticking because they're trying to find somebody else. And
Carlos doesn't want that. Carlos doesn't. He doesn't fancy Audi. That's another purgatory of a seat, isn't it? He'll be in there for 2 years before Audi pull out their finger and become competitive. 29, 30 years old. The one thing Carlos Sainz does not have is time to waste, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's in an interesting spot. I mean, it's like he's in a spot where obviously I think he can be choosy, but I don't know. It's interesting to see where he'll actually land. Like you, I think I would like to see him at Red Bull just because even though he's not as, I think he's inconsistent, but I do think he's at least more like, he's more of a firecracker. Like he's more like, you know what I mean? Like a wild card, like where I constantly feel like Perez is just never going to like surprise me or wow me or anything. I feel like at least Carlos can sometimes provide that competition.
You know what? The term, the signifier that I'd used to describe Carlos Sainz Jr., or at least you guys in North America, he's a gamer, Tasha.
Yeah.
He's a gamer. He's going to
opt true. Yeah.
If his optimal performance is at 8, he's going to get an 8, not 90% of the time. And that's what I like to see, right? That's why I prefer him over a Charles Leclerc, aka modern day Jean Alesi, right? Like I just think he gets most out of himself most of the time, whereas Charles is prone to a cheeky, unforced error. Loves to find himself in the barrier too much of the time. Potential unfulfilled is worth nothing to anyone, right? Carlos Sainz, man, put him in that Red Bull and let's see how he gets on. And they've got previous, haven't they, Tasha?
Yeah.
2015, 2016, Toro Rosso. And that's when the noises first came out about Helmut Marko doctoring the Toro Rosso team in favour of Max Verstappen. There's chat that Franz Tost didn't want. He wanted the team to act in a way that was uniform. And Helmut Marko spoke to Max Verstappen's side at a garage and said, you know what, you see Franz Tost, that team principal, sack him off. Ignore what he says. You take your orders from me. Tost heard about it and sacked the people that were disobeying him. And Marko went and found them other jobs at Red Bull, didn't he?
That's wild.
They've got previous Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, but it'd be more interesting at least than Checo Perez. I'll say that much.
Yeah, for sure. I guess somebody else who not necessarily in contention for Red Bull's seat, but I think a lot of people are hoping that he is, Yuki Tsunoda. He's, I think, P4, starting P4 tomorrow in the RB, which has no upgrades on it. Like all weekend, though, he's been like just on one, I feel like. And I don't know, like, I think he's just one of those underdog sort of drivers that, you know, he definitely has his moments. I think in the last like couple years, it's been nice to see his progression. Kind of like Oscar Piastri, where I think Oscar came out of the gate just really mature, really like level-headed. And I think Yuki's had to kind of get there. But I think as a result, his driver performance has just been so much better and he's been so much more consistent. And then obviously driving the RB, being able to get the results that he's getting. It's just really been interesting to see his season kind of unfold in the last like 7 races or so. But thoughts this weekend in terms of like, how is he P4? Like, how did he get up there?
I don't know the answer to these difficult questions that you're asking me, Tasha. I thought I was in the Matrix, you know, when Neo sees the black cat twice and he thinks it's a glitch. I didn't understand what was going on because he did it in Q2 as well, didn't he? He was high up there within the top 5. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? This isn't vanity runs anymore. These are the paid sessions, Q2. And then he goes and does it again. Fair play to the lad. I couldn't do the root cause analysis. It's far above my pay grade, Tasha, if I'm honest with you. I don't know. He's a very good driver, but now that he's becoming more consistent, I think somebody needs to write a white paper on this dude so we can analyse exactly what's going on. Maybe he's better than I ever gave him credit for, to put it there in Imola.
Diamond in the rough. I think that's all it is.
Around him. Bloody Nora, Tasha. That's proper.
Yeah.
proper.
Mind you, his teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, starting P9th. I think he's having a better weekend. I'll give him a little bit of credit because, normally he definitely exits quali, Q3 or so. So, yeah, he's not having a bad weekend, but Yuki's definitely having a better weekend and he has been kind of getting the better of Daniel this whole season. What have kind of been your thoughts in terms of their whole sort of,
the dynamic between the two.
Dynamic, yeah.
I think to your first point, Tasha, I think Daniel Ricciardo's story thus far as it's been the tale of two stories, right? First, he'll compare your benchmark. You always want to beat your teammate, and he hasn't beat his teammate, right? He's been soundly beaten by Yuki Tsunoda yet again. And about that, Danny Ric cannot be happy. However, that down the grid further is the dude whose place he's looking to take in Red Bull, right? Checo Perez. The fact that he beat him is that's a massive feather in Danny Ric's cap. He'll be having words with Christian Horner about potentially attaining that seat going forward. So I don't know. I still think Danny Ric, there are questions that need to be asked about that dude.
Right.
Once upon a time, I remember when he first came into F1, we thought he was Neo in the Matrix. We thought he was going to be the next Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, 100%. Because Seb Vettel at the time, he was the one that had taken the mantle on from Michael Schumacher. And if you do the F1 maths, which you should never do, the fact that Danny Ric came in and soundly, roundly beat Sebastian Vettel meant by extension that he should be the next one. But he never quite kicked on. Some poor decisions and some poor performances, not least in McLaren. He's again, I think Danny Ric's story, once all is told, it will be one of unfulfilled potential. And I think that's sad. I think he's kind of loitering around in the midfield now, and that's just going to be his that's his lot,
right?
For want of a better term.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been interesting. I feel like, I don't know if it's a mentality thing or if he's done, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it feels like, I thought he would get a boost in confidence by Red Bull basically reviving his career, putting him in the RB and basically being like, beat your teammate Yuki. It's Yuki Tsunoda, right? No time race winner. You shouldn't have that hard of a time, getting the better of him. And I don't feel like this experiment has gone quite exactly how they've planned. So it's been interesting to see the focus be on Daniel Ricciardo advancing to the Red Bull seat, if that's even still, a thing. And Yuki's kind of left in that no man's land of we're not even really considering him. But
I think sadly for these F1 drivers, Tasha, sometimes when you lose it, no matter, there's no amount of gym going or mental preparation or healthy eating that can get it back. F1 is such that once it's gone, most frequently it's gone forever. There's no getting it back. And I think that's where that is Danny Ric's lot, sadly. As lovely as a man as he is, honey badger settings, the broad smile. I heard him talking about, in the driver's press conference, there's a brilliant piece where he's talking about the 2026 regulations and the engines. He's pitching for the old school V10s and V12s that had that visceral, that when you start them up, your spine would tingle. He says, when Danny Ric's like that, I'm like, F1 is better for his presence, right?
Yeah.
But then, just sadly for him, the performance on the track just hasn't, at least of late, hasn't been matching up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe we'll see something change in the midseason. But yeah, it's been rough to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, man, you have that lifeline that was extended to you, and I don't feel like you're maximizing it. And I know that they're trying to say, I think one of the races, RB tweeted something like, he never left because he had a great result, I think, in the sprint quali or something. And it's like, all right. And then he turns around and doesn't have a good race. And it's like,
but you want to tell lies now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's move on to the midfield. Mercedes.
Oh my God, Tasha, must we really? Do we need to?
I don't want to, but we have to, because what's going on there? This is the second half of their upgrade that they had planned. So they upgraded the car. George and Lewis are P6 and P8 starting tomorrow. And the car just doesn't look anywhere. The pace is not there. They're still not comfortable driving it in some places. So I don't know. What are your just overall thoughts in terms of like Mercedes as a team or George, Lewis, anything like what's happening at Mercedes?
You want me to be honest here,
Yes,
Tasha?
please. Always.
I don't care, like being honest. Indifference, they say, is a step
Yeah.
along from hatred. And that's where I think I am with the boys and girls from Brackley and Brixworth right now. I've been sold too many dreams. I forgave them their previous indiscrepancies, right? The zero pod design was a mistake. And even the goatiest ones, Adrian Newey made a mistake per the MP414, which was too unsafe to even race one single race that season. So even the best ones make mistakes. You can forgive them for the zero pod. And what you can't forgive them for is not failing fast. Once you realise that the performance curve of that car is far too peaky for us to ever access it on a regular basis, sack it off, fail fast. But no, they didn't do that. They rolled it forward into 2023, took a whole winter and then realised the first race that, we've wasted not just a year, but a winter as well. And now we need to start thinking about 2024. And I think that's unacceptable for a team that has been as successful as Mercedes have for as long as they have. To be making those noddy, low-level decisions is just completely unacceptable. Questions want to be asked of Toto Wolff. That car is still rubbish. They've lost a ton of key personnel. It's like, what? And they keep saying that they've got this plan, and the only pinch point now is the lead time for the upgrades, and like just miss me with the nonsense, because I just don't believe Toto, the boy who cried wolf at this stage. For me, Tasha, if I'm honest, I feel like he's an unreliable narrator. I just don't. I don't believe the boy who cried wolf is the term that I will use, as disparaging as that is for one of the goatiest team principals who have ever goated, right? But at this stage, when Toto's talking, I cannot believe him. Tasha, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And at this stage, I'm not buying what Toto Wolff is. I'm not even sure James Allison is buying. Did you hear him at the press conference? They pitched him a question, Tasha, sorry, that was, imagine Freudian slip. Nasha will love that when he watches this back. No, I love you, bro. I love you.
You're here with us in spirit, Nasha.
Yeah. But they asked James Allison a question. I think Toto Wolff in the previous Grand Prix said there's something wrong with the physics of this car, alluding to the fundamental flaws. Pitched that question at James Allison, and James Allison just rubbished it as if he wasn't responding to his team. He was like, well, I think there's something wrong. If the car's not on pole, like the other 19 cars, the only one that there is nothing wrong with the physics of is the one on pole, right? Every other car, since it's not race lead, has something fundamentally wrong with the physics that needs improving. James Allison just like poo-pooed that statement massively. I think they don't respect him, and I think they've got plenty reason not to at this stage, Tasha. They need to have a word. At some point, the board need to make a decision about whether the leadership at Mercedes, being the boy who cried Toto Wolff, whether he's fit for purpose going forward. That's my honest opinion, and I'm sticking to it, Tasha.
I agree with you. That's my opinion for a while now, is I feel like Toto has to be the one that steps down. Whether that's going to like drastically change the team, I don't know, but it's like 3 seasons in a row. Like, what's the ceiling on this? You know what I mean? Like, how many more times, what's the bottom on this, rather, I should say? Like, how much further down do we have to fall as a team before we're like, let's make some fundamental changes? I do know potentially that there was I think the aerodynamicist Vino, last name Vino, was let go potentially. I think I read that somewhere. So it seems like maybe they're starting to like shift gears and get new fresh faces in. But for as much as we've heard people leaving, I really haven't seen anybody coming in that seems like a game changer. And I just don't know anymore.
The issue, Tasha, is that the churn, we've rate of retention as far as human resource, right?
Yeah.
You want to onboard more talent than you're losing out the door, right? And recently they've just lost Loic Serra and Jerome D'Ambrosio. D'Ambrosio, he's like the academy lead or whatever, so minor, that's dispensable human resource. But
Right.
Loic Serra, by all accounts, was a key man. So
Right.
who's coming in to replace him? If you harbour aspirations, right, of challenging, whether that's in the short or medium term, then you need to onboard key personnel and talent that's capable of delivering right, lest we forget that F1 is a story told in tense where your success is a function of people. F1 is just how good are your people, right? The people that build the car, the people that come up with the ideas, the drivers that sit in the car, the team principle and leadership. Where is that for Mercedes?
Yeah.
What Toto Wolff and listen, I've honestly, Tasha, beggars belief. It's not looking good at the moment, is it? At the boys and girls at Brackley and Brixworth, there is no out. So I just don't believe them, man. At this point, what are they talking about? Got direction? Where? Which part? Show me it. Because I'm not seeing it currently.
I mean, even what Toto said about the Imola upgrades, like they were supposed to do something, and it's like, no, I mean, maybe because maybe it has improved the car slightly, but then you have McLaren improving drastically. You have Ferrari. You have other teams around us who add upgrades to their car, and you immediately see some level of performance or upgrade, added to their car. So it's like Mercedes, it's just been crazy to see them just have no idea what direction to go in. And we have upgrades, but they're not upgrading the car, not to a degree that matters. Like, sure, it improves the car a tenth, but is that really an improvement when everybody around you is mollywopping you? Like,
that's the point.
Yeah.
It's a zero-sum game, and this is relative.
Right.
To improve by a tenth when everybody else is improved by 2/10. Well, you've lost time ultimately. And I'm done at this point. A lot of them no, and then they're tweeting out this nonsense. This is why you hear it in my tone that it's negative. I don't want to be a disloyal supporter and turncoat and go and start following like Lando Norris or whoever. I don't want to do that. But they force my hand when they're tweeting out this nonsense each and every single time, talking about if you don't love me at my worst, then you don't deserve to love me at my best. What are you talking about?
Right.
There are a gazillion Mercedes fans around the world who spend money they don't have to follow you all over the world and support you buying your merch and all this nonsense. And those are the fans that you're tweeting that out about.
Right.
Are you having a laugh? No, it's not good at Tasha. I shall not stand for it. It's not good. No,
they got our blood pressure up.
No, it's not good enough, Tasha. It's not good enough.
I agree.
They can't, and they shouldn't be about the fans, not about the fact. If you want to take aim at a journo who spoke poorly of you, then that's different. But to talk badly about the fans, who for the most part, Tasha, if we're honest, aren't there to back the team. They're there for Lewis Hamilton. And once Lewis Hamilton leaves, let's see how many Mercedes caps are being worn around Silverstone next year. It will be a sea of red. So don't get above your station, Mercedes, thinking that people are here for you. They are not.
Honestly.
This is Lewis Hamilton's house and he built it. So behave yourself. No,
it's been an interesting. We had a whole conversation about this before, like their social media strategy, just in everywhere, like social media, the technical team, the race strategist, like the whole, nobody knows like how to communicate to the fans or to the public what's happening on the team. And then it's like the social team wants to have like this weird parasocial relationship with the fans. Like, you are not fans. We're the fans. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys set the tone for, what we are talking about, how we're talking about it. And when fans are disgruntled, the last thing you want to do to tell somebody who's not calm is to relax, right? Like, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys aren't appreciative enough. Like, everybody who I've seen who's a Mercedes fan is very passionate about Mercedes. And I think a lot of the criticism is coming from the passion and the fact that, like, what's happening to this team? Like, nobody seems to have an answer. No one seems to be responsible for the problems, or no one's taking responsibility. Everything's just like, yeah, it's fine. We'll put something on the car, it'll be fine. And it's like, that's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, especially when you have like a McLaren who was nowhere, then they upgraded, and then they were nowhere again. They've had so many like peaks and valleys, and it's like, but you see the progression, like they're actually getting somewhere. And then you just see Mercedes, who is just like that, they're at like a plateau, and I would say probably even a downward trend. Like P6 and P8 is the norm now. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm happy if we get a P8 or P7. Like that's...
We're out here, Tasha, celebrating mediocrity. Yeah. That's what it is. And I understand there's a paradigm shift as far as our expectations. Not every season in any sport, particularly F1, are you entitled to win championships, whether that's drivers or constructors. That's true. I've got to recalibrate my expectations and manage that. However, it's the lost at sea type attitude that they're giving that just frustrate. Every time a Toto comes out and starts talking about, he's been saying this same phrase for the last like 10 months. That we've got a direction and now we know where we're going and it's a line of travel. And just, well, you don't know what's wrong really, because if you did, you would have fixed it by now, Toto. So again, to reiterate for the avoidance of doubt, I just think that chap, those like unreliable narrators, and I'd be fooling myself to believe any other words that are coming out of their mouth, Tasha. I've had enough. And bless Lewis Hamilton for putting up with that nonsense. 39 years old, 7-time champion, and you're providing with a tractor of a car for 3. That's a, you know, Tasha, as a racing fan, as a die-hard fan who's been watching this sport since I was born. It pained me to think about Alonso when he was doing, but this was Alonso's doing way. He made a series of bad mistakes and ended up in a few bad cars back-to-back years. But Lewis is 39 now. We've seen 3 years now of Lewis's prime just vaporized. And it's a shame. It's a shame not just for Mercedes fans, but for Lewis fans and fans of F1. The rematch, the 2021, the rematch of that was what was promised to F1 fans around the world. And what happened to that, Tasha? Where was that? Nothing.
Vaporized.
Unfulfilled.
Gone.
It was a myth.
But you know what? That's really what it is, though. It's that like, it's that like, there's like this gnawing feeling as a fan, right? Like that there's unfinished business. And the fact that Mercedes has not been able to get us anywhere close to that. Like Lewis can't even annoy Max Verstappen. You know what I mean? In a race. Like he can't even like...
They lapped Tasha at this very Grand Prix last time round. It's out of order. It's disrespectful.
So it's so the fact that, and then, you know, you have Toto out here like, oh, we're gonna get him the car to win his 8th, and it's like, no, you're not. And if we didn't know that he was going to Ferrari this season, like, where would we be right now mentally? Like, this is 3rd season in a row where this man is testing on a car that's not getting any better. It blows my mind. It truly does.
You heard what I said earlier, right, Tasha, about unreliable narrators. I could list out, I've got a list of long as my arm of quotes that Toto has said. Do you remember on Netflix when they asked him, Red Bull got a target on their back? And he said, everybody's got a target on their back next year. Well, how did that work out, Toto? The boy who cried wolf. What happened to that target on their backs? Nothing. You'll do nothing, Toto Wolff. And I just think it's a shame for Lewis in particular. The fact that he's had to he's the best peddler that I've ever... Look at the highlights of Lewis. Singapore 2018, bloody GP2 silver star. Like he's at his very best when he's motivated and in a decent car. I've never seen alchemy in an F1 car that he's capable of. The only Senna maybe, Max Verstappen maybe at some point, but I've never really seen that. So to waste 36 months of him is an absolute travesty, not just to F1 fans, but to Lewis and Mercedes fans. But you know what, Tasha, I digress. My blood pressure's raising, man. So I cannot.
Let's, on that note, let's set the grid for tomorrow. Let's talk a bit about where everybody's going to start, and then we can kind of make some predictions if you have any. So poor Logan Sargent. He's going to be 20th on the grid. His lap was deleted. I know his life is on the line. Val's has...
Oh, Tasha,
Val's
let's go.
Let him know that, doesn't have very much more time left. He just needs to improve.
He's at risk.
Yeah, you're a man at risk. I did see that Bottas apparently had a little 15-minute meeting with Val's as well this weekend. So we shall see what happens there. 19th, Alonso. wasn't expecting to see him down there. But he was having a rough weekend.
That's what happens when you talk smack about Lewis, isn't it? You're
Every
talking
tongue
about
that
he drives like he's alone on track, which I didn't think was an invalid criticism to fair, because I did think Lewis Hamilton did make a mistake. But I don't know. And even that talk about the bloody anti-Spanish bias, what are you talking about, Fernando?
Right.
Really? Really?
Anything.
You wanted to address that question like Carlos Sainz did in the presser, right? That's what you wanted to say, that they're too focused on the outcomes. If there's a crash, somebody's getting a penalty. Well, that shouldn't. You want to penalise Checo Perez for his losing control at turn 1 in Miami, right? That's the way you want to police this sport if you're going to do your job properly. So I think Fernando dropped the ball then, and he's dropped the ball again this weekend uncharacteristically. But sometimes karmic justice is a real thing.
Yeah. Sometimes she's swift. Sometimes it takes 3 years, you know? You never know. 18th is Magnussen. 17th is Zhou Guanyu, who's not having a great season either. 16th is Bottas. Then you have Gasly at 15th, which I feel like the Alpines are...
Chaos merchants, Tasha, is what they're doing. Did you see it? No, genuinely. Did you see, serious point, did you see Gasly? So Gasly in was it Q2 or Q3 when he had himself parked on the exit? Or maybe it's for you. I can't remember what session it was, but he was parked on the exit. Piastri was trying to go around him.
Oh, yeah.
And then Piastri bloody nearly lost his mind and his car.
Yeah.
And then Charles Leclerc shortly thereafter, similar. What are we doing, Pierre Gasly? Move out the way, chap. Like, stop this dawdling on the exit of corners. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, the team's wild right now. But I feel like they're doing the best that they can. And you have Albon at P14.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alex, man.
Yeah.
Having just signed a new contract,
Long term, too.
Which I don't hate, by the way. Loyalty is a real thing, and it's something to be commended. But
absolutely.
I don't know. You know, do you want me to be honest, Tasha? I don't really, past like 5th place, I just don't even...
Think about it.
I'm an F1 snob in that sense. I don't really... Alex Albon, like...
See, I was hoping for a better season for him, and I don't know what's going on with Williams in general. I keep saying that they were my team that I earmarked because it felt like they at least were starting to like, maybe like a mental shift is more what I'm thinking. Like in terms of the team, like Val's came in, it felt like fresh energy. You know, there's a lot of work to do. They've had to like, you know, reorganize a lot of stuff to get the team up and running. So obviously I think in that respect, they are behind in some ways, but I was still expecting Alex to have a better start to the season. And I'm not seeing it right now. Everybody feels a little frustrated on that team.
Empathize, Tasha. He hasn't got the wheels underneath him, right? And driving a car that can't do it is just mission impossible. Especially for somebody like Alex Albon that could do with a whip underneath him, right? A car capable of winning championship. But then I suppose caveat that with this, that James Vowles has said that they need a longer lead time as far as instituting some of their processes and the infrastructure requisite to winning races and championship. They asked him 2025, maybe 26, and he was like, no, 2028 is when we're looking to get things done, because these things take time. They don't even have the capex to spend on, like, what was it the other day that I heard you guys say? Excel spreadsheet car.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how they were like inventorying all their stuff was just on an Excel spreadsheet. And I thought they were joking, but...
Because that's how you win championships, of course, isn't it, Tasha? You know what I mean?
They have a championship Excel spreadsheet.
Can you imagine? World-class processes and all that.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, that was wild to me. 13th place is Lance Stroll.
Beating Fernando.
Yeah. That's wild. You have Ocon at 12th place. He got the first point for Alpine, I think, was the last race.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said I feel like they're trying. I feel like they're swimming against the tide. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Ocon is trying because I do think that he's hoping to get out of that team, right? So I think he's hoping to put in some sort of performances that might attract, another team. But yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know about that Alpine thing, depresses me. I feel like we've gone from one depressing topic, Tasha, in Mercedes straight into a more the only one that could be more depressing in Alpine. They talked about this 100-day plan that they were looking to achieve. I'm sure we must be close, if not there already. They've sacked all their key personnel in Otmar Safnauer, and a bunch of other people have left, similar to the FIA. Don't believe in the leadership, and I don't see. And they're wasting away the careers of Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. Like it's like, what are we? Like where is where were the green shoots, Tasha? Like where is the redeeming feature? What do Alpine fans have to be optimistic about? Renault are dialing out of the sport. Like what? Like
I don't know.
Just suck it off, man. Give it to somebody else if you're not going to utilize it properly.
That part. Yeah, I just think that it's. Sometimes you just gotta pull the plug, you know. Sometimes you just gotta call it. Like I think we're there. Like both drivers are ready to go.
I think we've been there. Yeah. Both drivers are just looking to just. I don't know. It's sabbatical settings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just turn up and tick a box and then clock out.
Literally. 11th, Sergio Perez.
Yeah, of course. Covered that one already. Mexican Minister of Defense. Bless Red Bull. I disliked Red Bull for dangling that carrot in front of him, saying that they didn't want to extend his contract. Because last time they did it at Monaco, his performance did one of these, didn't it? As soon as as soon as the ink dried on the contract, he couldn't get through to Q3. So they've been delaying extending his contract to ensure that his performance levels keep up. I'm not sure that's the solve anymore, Tasha. The mistake at Miami was ridiculous. You can't lose control at turn one like that. It's reminiscent of Valtteri Bottas in 2021. What are you doing, mate? Control your car, Mexican Minister of Defense. So I don't know. Lost battalion.
Hulkenberg at P10, Danny Rick at P9, Lewis Hamilton P8. Crazy. P7, Yuki Tsunoda. P6 is George Russell. 5 is Carlos Sainz. 4th is Leclerc. 3rd is Lando Norris. 2nd is Piastri. And then Verstappen is on pole.
Mad.
Crazy. Front row is actually kind of wild.
Pincer move tomorrow, isn't it? What can those McLaren boys do as far as overcut and undercut to put Max Verstappen in a bad place? That's the key. And then rain as well, Tasha. You've heard 50% probability of rain. God help the other 19 on the grid not named Max Verstappen if rain comes and he's on pole.
Right.
That's not going to be a good look, I'm telling you, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see.
Do you have any other predictions or any hopes or anything that you might be looking forward to for tomorrow? I know it's not a lot. We're scraping the barrel, but any thoughts on who might be able to advance?
I would like to see Lewis go long and try and profiteer from a cheeky safety car, much the same way that Lando did last race. And he was close, wasn't he? He's been close a couple of times to profiteering from a safety car, but that would be good. And then the undercut overcut from McLaren would be, I would like just something different. Tasha, if I'm honest, don't give me the variety they say is the spice of like to see the same winner each and every single time as an F1 fan is like, I can reallocate that 2 hours worth of race time and go and spend some time with the family and read a book or learn a language.
Tend to the garden.
Do you know what I mean? If I know the outcome at the start, then what's the point? Look at me, F1 diehard, advocating for not watching the race, of course.
It's hard, though. This is the 3rd season in a row we're having to deal with this. And I feel the same way as you. Is like, if it's more mixed up, I don't really care who it is. Like, I saw some people last week weren't so happy, or like as in real time I watched, like people were like, oh, I don't want Lando to win, you know, whatever. But I'm like, I need this. Like, I need to see somebody else win, you know, or if that's not the case, I at least want to see Max be challenged, annoyed, something. Like, I just need to not know that the result is always going to be so like, straightforward. If we still get the same result in the end, then it is what it is. But at least there was like a fight or some sort of interesting thing that happened. So that's where I'm at. And I feel like that's like scraping the barrel. Like, I do definitely feel like the bar is in hell for me in terms of entertainment level. Like, as long as something happens, you know, I can justify spending my Sundays doing this. But
give us a why to watch. Of which, by the way, Tasha, there hasn't been many season to date. It's been very, in fact, not forget season to date. Over the past 2-3 years, there's not been, do you know what I mean? What am I gonna, why am I watching?
I feel like somewhere deep in my head, I'm like, something's going to happen, right? Like is it like the bylooker or the onlooker, whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but I just feel like it's like there's something's going to happen and I don't want to miss it. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't know why, because every week I'm definitely not missing anything.
100%, Tasha. It's a labour of love, this. It's looking a lot like 2000 to 2004, where Michael Schumacher just dominated. And you could guarantee that each and every single race, it was going to be a Michael Schumacher victory, unless there was some sort of like act of God or reliability issues. And then, Tasha, you know what most people did? They watched the first 5 minutes to start, and they would check back in at the last 5 minutes. And I feel like a lot of F1 fans are cancelling subscriptions correspondingly, because they're like, Maxwell, how much did Max Verstappen win by today?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, we're in a bad place, but hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm excited for 2025 just to see what happens. I know it's probably not going to be any different fundamentally, but 2026, I'm just like,
why do you expect it not to be different, Tasha?
I mean, I don't think a lot of teams are going to be investing that heavily into the 2025 car. I think with 2026, I think a lot of teams are going to be more focused on that. I am interested in it, though, from the perspective that we're going to see a lot of drivers moving around, like Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. Obviously, is the big story, and I'm excited for that. But I do know that there's going to be like that acclimation period of like he has to get to know the team and the car. So I don't know that I'm expecting a lot to happen, but I do feel like Fred has plans, and I feel like we'll probably start to see all the like little seeds and everything kind of start to sprout in 2025 and 2026. I'm just hopeful that they get off the ground running, basically. So, but yeah, what about you? Do you like have any expectations for 2025?
Bloody Nora, Tasha. This is I just want to see Lewis race it. Like, it made me sad the other day when Lewis talked about he was competing with K-Mag in that horse, right? And when he got out of the car, did you see how happy he was?
He was delighted.
I'm just happy to get some rates. I enjoyed
just
that.
Feel something,
Getting a bit dicey with K-Mag.
Yeah.
It's like flipping Nora. Like, how, you know what I mean?
Right.
Lower your expectations, Eddie. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time champion, racing around with K-Mag.
Yeah. Told you the bar is in hell. Actually, like embedded in the Earth's core, like at this moment. Like it's crazy.
I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
You can't overstate how sad that circumstance is.
Yeah.
Lewis genuinely giggling about not racing Max for first place,
right?
About racing K-Mag for like 11th or whatever it was
in a sprint race.
Yeah. Cheers, Toto. Thanks a lot, mate.
Well,
cheers, mate.
We still have how many more races left of this season? Longest season ever. This is the 7th round in Imola, so we definitely have a long way to go. I genuinely hope for our mental health that we get some glimpses of something good this season.
We'll overcome, Tasha. There's reasons to invest in the excellence of Max Verstappen. They say
even that's boring though. I'm like, his fans don't even get to see him race like that. I mean, like nothing is happening on the screen, so I just feel like everybody is just getting ripped off right now.
100%. I enjoyed it today. It can't just be the story. Can't just be how good Max Verstappen was, because nobody's not interested in that.
Right.
That's the truth. Like a gazillion Drive to Survive fans are watching the sport now. Attention dollars are harder than ever to come by with TikTok and Facebook et al. So like if Max Verstappen just nails pole by a second like he's been doing over the past however many races, I can't make a case. Like I'm not going to call my friend. Like all my friends don't watch anymore, Tasha. When I phone my friends, I'm like, "Did you see that Max Verstappen lap? How brilliant was that?" They're like, "Cam, what are you like, mate? I've got
like,
kids
I was
to
grocery
take care
shopping.
of. I've got SH1 to do. Cam, they're not watching." And that again, I feel like the common denominator in all the conversations we're having, Tasha, that for me is sad. I want to be able to talk to the friends that I started the podcast with and have an argument because they watched as well, but they're not watching this. Long for them. But I digress.
Let's pray. 2025, 2026, we get something to talk about. That would be excellent. On that note, I think this is a good place to leave it. I really appreciate you spending your Saturday with me. before we go, is there anywhere people can find you to check out your content, which I think you should?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Tasha. Listen, it's a privilege each and every single time that I come in here. Quick stop, market leading settings, taking it to the live shows, the work that you and Nasha and Chris and
Thank
Tandy
you.
and Tommy level settings. So I'm never shy at promoting the good work that you do
Thank
over
you.
here, carving out a niche and bringing your unique brand of F1 content to the world. So that was worthy of mention. As far as me and my little old F1 ramblings, Cameron F1 on YouTube, Cameron F1 TV on Twitter. And again, disclaimer, if you don't like long, monotonous, overly verbose F1 ramblings, then save yourself the trouble.
They're great conversations, though. I notice you always have like Peter Windsor on, like, you know, different people in the industry that you're actually like, I enjoy these conversations.
Windsor was telling me how much of an idiot I am and correcting me on my pseudo facts. But yeah, no, I enjoy it.
It's cool though. I feel like it's fun to watch. Listen, I think all of us at this point are having a challenge of trying to create content that's interesting. And I think that what helps set everybody apart is just their personalities and like their point of view. And I just feel like you're, you know, somebody like really interesting to listen to. Like I said, your interviews are always great. So yeah, I feel like get into it. Everybody just needs to like just try different things and like see different people and yeah, listen to different content.
100%.
We're all out here trying, you know? Hopefully it'll get better. Thank you guys all out there for listening. Once again, I appreciate you spending your time with me on Saturday as well. I hope the race is good tomorrow. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Some good stuff, some action. That being said, right. That being said, I think we'll be back again on Tuesday for the regular scheduled podcast. Next Saturday for whatever happens. I don't know if there's a race or not, but I'll be back on Saturday. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys so much again. Don't forget to subscribe, Patreon, if you want an ad-free content experience, 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again for listening and see you soon. And no matter what happens in life, keep it on the black stuff. Bye. Yay. Oh my God, where do the balloons come from?
There's always does that, Tasha. It
What
gets
is
on my
going
nerves.
on?
Yeah, if you press the wrong thing, it always happens that. She always does that
It's
on our
gestures, because it's just when I do like a little peace sign. It's
it just comes up automatically.
Yep.
Bloody no.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.